We will just have a look on the blockchain, how does it work, what is the basic technology behind it, and we will also see some programs on smart contracts, how to deploy it, how to work on that. So what is the basically blockchain? So it was introduced in in 1991. I mean, that was not like a product base. It was just in theoretical in 1991. That was the digital stamps. The blockchain was first introduced in 1991. I mean, not as a blockchain but as a digital timestamps to timestamp the documents. So, but it was first adopted as a blockchain cryptocurrency by Bitcoin in 2008. And like, what is blockchain? I mean, it's like a number of blocks that are linked together with each other. I mean, each transaction in the blockchain, like, that is recorded as a block. And what is the functioning behind it? It's like a distributed ledger. It's cryptographically involved in it. So each transaction is secure. No one can tamper with it, and it works on consensus protocol. So we will see all these technologies in the later slides. So just for the introduction. So as I said, like when we do any transaction, that is converted into a block, and with further transaction the chain develops. So how does it work? Like in one block there is an address transaction data, and all blocks are connected with each other. We have the hash of the previous block in one block, and also the hash value of the current block also. So it will be a series of blocks. One block will have the hash of previous also and the current hash also. So it's very difficult to tamper with the blockchains, like I show you. So these are like how the blocks are connected, and as many transactions will occur, this chain will grow, and this will become the blockchains. Like this, the first block is called the Genesis block. As you see. If I talk about the second block, it has the hash value of this, and it also stores the hash value of the previous block. So, and if you talk about the third block, it also stores the hash value of the previous block. So if you want to tamper with the blockchain, why blockchain is secure? Because you can't tamper with it. Because if you change the hash, if you change anything in this, all the subsequent blocks, like after all the blocks, they will get changed. So it's very difficult to tamper with this. How this hash is calculated? So as I said, the first block is called the Genesis block. It's very difficult to tamper. It's extremely secure. So how this hash is calculated? Is a secure hash algorithm. This works on this, like one hash value is a function of like data in the block, like the transaction data I showed you, and the hash value of the current block and the hash value of the previous block. So this is the hash function. So every block will have the linkage with the previous block. So as I said, it's a immutable ledger. Ledger is like transaction which stores the list of transaction in it. So in blockchain, it's distributed across all the nodes. So that's why it's immutable, because everyone has a copy of the ledger with it. I will show you what is immutable ledger in the further slides. So as I saw, tampering with any block is very difficult, because blockchain system will verify it. Because if you tamper it, if you tamper any block, that block will get changed, the hash value, and the subsequent block will also be changed. So it's very difficult for the attacker to attack on the blockchain. So as I told you, what is distributed ledger? It's like every node, like how many nodes that are participating in the blockchain. So everyone has the copy of the ledger. Ledger is like the history of all the transactions that has happened. So everyone has the copy, and the nodes that they participate in the validation of transactions. So like a transaction has happened, transaction like exchange of money, sending money. So if any transaction is happening, the nodes will participate in validation of the transaction, because they have the hash value of everything. So this is the distributed ledger. Maybe this one. Yeah. So every nodes. There are multiple nodes, so just the 4 I have shown. So every node has a copy of the ledger. Ledger is nothing, it's just a list of all the transactions that has happened till now. So there are two types of blockchains, like one is permissionless and one is permissioned. In permissionless, it is like public, open to everyone. Everyone can participate in this. And in permissions, there are like few nodes that are like they have been given the permission to participate, and all others nodes, if they want to participate, they will have to take permission from that particular nodes. So permission is totally open to everyone, so it's the fully decentralized, and permissions is partially decentralized. So how does it in blockchain work? Like if there are 4 nodes in the blockchain, so if there is a one transaction is happening, so to validate that transaction, at least 50% of the nodes should agree. So if you want to tamper with the network, you have to like attack on at least more than 51% of the network. So that is highly impossible. So what is the difference between permissionless and permissions? As permissionless is like open to everyone, so more and more nodes can participate in this. But once a node gets the functioning of validating, like it's called the mining process. So mining is like when a transaction is happening, so to validate that transaction, each node participates in the mining process. So it validates the transaction, and in return it receives a reward in terms of tokens or cryptocurrency. So in permissionless, this is like less energy efficient, because at Ethereum and Bitcoin they work on permissionless public blockchain. It is less energy efficient, because it's like network wide, all the nodes will participate in the validation of the transaction. Privacy is less because it's public, and it's also slower to scale. And in permission private change, it's faster, because a limited number of nodes are participating in the validation, and in permission risk of corruption is more, because only few nodes are involved, and it's like possibility of attacking a few nodes is more than possibility of attacking all the network. So if you see the diagram, this is the, I don't know you can see or not, this is the public chain, there is no locker here, and this is the private chain, like only limited set of nodes they will have the permission, other will have to take the permission to participate. So like once a transaction is happening, so to validate that transaction, this consensus algorithm is used. Like consensus is like we all 5 people, if we want to go to coffee, or we will make a voting process, like if more than 50% wants to go, then we will go to coffee, otherwise we will not go. So it's like if more number of people agrees on the same thing, so that transaction is validated. So there are 2 types of consensus algorithm that works in blockchain. One is proof of work. There are multiple. These are 2 important algorithms. There are multiple algorithms. One is proof of work and one is proof of stake. So proof of work is like how much a node participates in the computation of a particular validation of the transactions. Like Bitcoin, that works on proof of work. Ethereum also works on proof of work, but it is shifting to proof of stake. In proof of stake, like if I have the Ethereum 50%, I have taken like more number of coins. So whoever has the more number of coins of Ethereum, he will of Ethereum. If Ethereum is a proof of stake, so if how much stake a particular node is having, so that particular node will participate in the validation of the transaction. So in proof of work, the probability of mining is determined by the amount of computational work. It's the computational work is given in the form of puzzle. Like whenever a new transaction comes, the blockchain system gives a cryptographic puzzle to the node. The node which solves the puzzle fast, so that becomes the miner, and in the who does the mining, he is given the reward in terms of cryptocurrency or the token value. So in proof of stake, like whichever node has having the highest stake in terms of cryptocurrency, that becomes the validation of the transaction. So these are the like the example. You can see, maybe that will be more clear what is proof of work and proof of stake. If you see in proof of work, there are three nodes. The hash rate is like the amount of work done to solve a puzzle. Like the hash rate of this green node, it's higher, so it is like being involved in like solving the puzzle fast. So this if there are three nodes and each one is solving the puzzle, each one is validating the transaction, so the one who is doing the work more and faster will get its block to get added into the chain. Like in the green one is having the higher hash rate, so this particular block will be added to the current blockchain. In proof of stake, that as I said, it depends on the stake value. Like if there are total of Ethereum coins, if I talk about, so if one is having 40% Ethereum, so more is the stake, so that block will be added to the blockchain. So we will move to smart contracts. What are smart contracts? It's like the line of codes that are used to define some rules for the blockchain. So as you know, simply contracts are also some rules. So we define smart contracts as a codes. These are just line of codes that are used to write a blockchain program. So these are like normal contracts that define the rules. So these are automatically executed whenever a transaction happens. We define the conditions in the line of codes. I will show you in the program when we will run it. So when conditions are met, then actions are performed based on conditions such as release of funds or booking hotel or something extra. So smart contracts, they are written on a language that is Solidity. So we can also use they are like Solidity is basically the Ethereum based language for the Ethereum, and we have Rust language for the Solana that works on proof of stake. So how smart contract works? So we have to define the smart contract. We have to define the smart contract as a line of code. Then we will deploy that smart contract in the blockchain network, and it will automatically execute it whenever the events are triggered. Like any transaction is happening, the smart contract will get executed. I will show you not this one. I will show you directly how to write a smart contract on Ethereum. So this is online integrated development tool for writing the Solidity language for writing a smart contract in Ethereum. So whenever you are writing the first line of code, this one Pragma Solidity, you have to define the version of Solidity language that you are using. So the Solidity language, it keeps on updating. So if you see, like there are many number of versions, so every day new version is coming, so we have to be updated with that. So we have to define to the program that which version we are using. So I want to make a contract to book a hotel. Automatically, if the hotel room is occupied or it is free, then we will book the hotel and we will pay the money if it is free. So I have defined the contract. I will write a smart contract for this, and I will define the rules. So I have written the contract hotel room. So the one who will get the value, it's like we're defining. It's more, the Solidity language is more like the JavaScript and C++. So this is data type address, and we want this owner. We have declared this variable as a address data type, and we want to make the payment to this particular owner. That's why we have this. These are the keywords, payable. These are the keywords. So we want to pay to this owner. That's why we have declared it, and we will initialize the owner details, like what is the address of this. So there is a keyword in Solidity, like whoever will initiate the contract, whoever will deploy the contract, so that will become the message.sender. So we will initialize the owner address, and we will initialize the current status of the room, that is vacant. It will get updated if the room is booked. So we want to define the options of the room, whether it is vacant or it is occupied. So this we have declared the status. for the room, that is enumerator. It will just go through this. And there are some modifiers in Solidity language, like these are conditions. When this condition will be satisfied, only then this function will execute. So we have defined two modifiers. One is we will book only if the room is vacant. So if current status is vacant, only then we will book. Otherwise, it will show it is currently occupied. And we have also defined one condition as cost. If we will define like the room cost is more than 3 ether or 4 ether, then only it will book the room. If the person who is booking the room is paying at least for the amount of the room. Otherwise, it will display that there is no sufficient ether provided. So at last we will. So in Solidity language we will also can like emit the events whenever a transaction is happened. So that the owner of the hotel, he will get a like events like that transaction has happened. So he can just prepare the room or anything. So whenever we will book the room, we will send an event to the owner. So this is the function we have defined for booking the room with the name function, and the name of the function is book. This is external, like it can be accessed from anywhere, and this also has to be able because we will send money to the owner. And these are the modifiers that we declared. It will book only when it is vacant, and it will book only if the cost that is paying is more than 3 ether. So we are transferring the owner the message value. Whatever the value will be defined, it will be passed, and we will change the status of the room to occupied, and we will emit the events to notify the owner that this particular room has been booked. So I will show you like how this particular program works. So this is Remix online IDE. So here you can see this is the compiler version which we want to use, and language is Solidity. So you have here, first you have to compile the program, then it will show here that this particular transaction has happened. It has only compiled the program, then we will deploy this program, this smart contract into the blockchain network. So now we have to go to deployment part. Now if you see here, there are multiple things that has like gas limit, the account number of the owner. So every particular node in the blockchain network will have this address. This is the address of a particular blockchain. This is online ID. It gives us like more than 10 accounts. These are 100 ether each, and these are not actual ethers. These are just for running the smart contracts and understanding the blockchain network. So what are we doing? We are trying to deploy this smart contract onto the blockchain network. Not on actual blockchain. This is virtual Java machines, and these are just for understanding of the blockchain. So we will deploy it. So you see the symbol here. It is deployed on the network, and you can also see the transaction. Like if you see here the status transaction, mined, transaction hash. As I told you, each transaction has the hash value, and from this address this particular event has occurred. What is the gas value? As I told you, like when a transaction happens, the particular node will get a mining process validation of transaction. So this is the fees that will be paid to the miner. So the one who is doing the mining process, he will be given the reward in terms of this gas fees. So if we see here, this particular contract we deploy it, and we can see this contract here that has been deployed on the blockchain network. Now if I see, this is the address of the owner that has deployed the network. The address is, I show you, this is ending with CB2, and if I see the owner details here, you can see the address is same, and now I want to book the particular room. So for the booking of the room, I have declared like if the cost is more than 3 ether, only then it will book. See here. So first I will try to book the room from different account. This is my owner account. This is the different account I will try to book from here. So now I am giving only 0 ether, but the condition is more than, if the amount is more than 3 ether, only then it will book the room. So I am trying to book it. So it will throw an error, and it will also say see, not sufficient ether provided, because the amount is less than 3 ether. So I will change the amount to 3. Now I try to book it. It has booked the room. If you see, when I was using it, it was having 100 ether. So the 3 ether has gone from this account to this account. Whenever this transaction has happened, the 3 ether has gone from third account to second account. So if I try to book it again, because it is now it has been occupied, so if I try to book it again, so now it will show, it should show that it is currently occupied because the room has been booked. So that is the main process, how to write the smart contracts in the Solidity language. And these are the some values, like the one who will be doing the validation of this transaction, he will receive this gas value. This is the gas limit, we can define that, like how much I can pay for this transaction. The more gas limit you define, it is like easier to validate the transaction faster. So this is one smart contract. We can see other examples also of this. Here. So this is another example, like in this I want to buy some tokens, so I have defined it. I just want to show you like how this actually works, how the transaction goes from one node to another node, who does the validation. So I have defined my contract. This is a mapping variable, like it's like a key value pair, like we use in arrays. It's like an array, but it's like each value is addressed with a key. So I just want to run this and see how do we buy the tokens. So I have defined the function buy token, which also will be payable because I want to transfer the money. Whenever I will buy the token, it will increase the value of the token by 1, and it will transfer that token value to the wallet. I have defined the wallet here. So I will try to run this, if this works. Let me check. Compile by token. So I have compiled it. Now I will deploy it on, this is our first contract. I will deploy it on the blockchain. Invalidated. Yeah. So this is the token value. I have to copy this address. This is the link copied. Now I want to make this address as my wallet, which will receive the tokens. So now this has been executed. So if I see, this is the contract that has deployed on the network. So if I see the balance of this particular wallet, now it has 0 token. When I buy a token and then check it again, the token value is increasing. So with each token value that we are paying, the ether is going to the blockchain network for the mining process. So that's all, just for the basic functionality to understand the smart contracts. If you have any questions, that was next slides.
Right, so maybe I have a question. This is more related to the ledgering process. So how is the transaction broadcasted to all of the nodes, right, which are trying to sign that block?
Yeah, so whenever it's like a total decentralized system, every node participates in the network. So whenever a new transaction comes, the blockchain system it just broadcasts it to all the nodes. So how you decide who will be doing the mining and validating the process, that depends upon the consensus algorithm which we are using. If it is proof of work and or either it is proof of stake. So in proof of work, like whoever will have the more computational power, he will be assigned the transaction to validate it, to mine it. And in proof of stake, who has the most stake in particular cryptocurrency, that will be assigned the mining process.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
I have a question. Maybe I didn't understand the gas value. Is there some fee connected to like creating a smart contract? For example, if you have deployed this booking hotel,
Yeah.
will you get like charge every time it runs or
Yes.
every time you deploy it?
Yeah, so it's like its blockchain is like a distributed ledger, so there is no central party. Like in the bank, we have a central bank. We use the bank applications like sending of money or everything, but we also pay to the bank some service fee or something. In distributed this blockchain, there is no central party. All the nodes will participate in validation of transaction which we are using. So that nodes who are participating, they want to receive some reward. So for everything that we are deploying on the network, this is a transaction, and for this particular transaction a block will be created. So for making that block, whoever node will participate in the mining process or the validation of this transaction, they want to receive some reward. So this is the gas value that is given to the node.
Okay.
Yeah.